Hey, Lana.
Hi, how are you?
Good, really good. Nice to see you again.
Nice.
And who is this?
Oh, this is my brother, Bob.
Bob. It's really nice to meet you. I'm Dr. King.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Alana, so we did your evaluation yesterday. The great news is that I was able to condense it all and review it last night, and I think you're in the perfect place. I really think there's a lot that we can do to improve your health. Before I present the report to you, do you mind if I catch Bob up on a little bit of what we talked about last time?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, perfect. Bob, so what we talked about last time is that everyone has a nervous system, and it's the body's communication system. So it all starts in the brain, which is encased in your skull. Down from your brain, there's 78 trillion nerves that come together and form a cord. That cord runs from the base of your skull all the way down to your tailbone.
Okay.
Out from the spinal cord runs all of these individual nerves, and it goes to every single cell, tissue, organ in your body. The brain sends the signal down and basically controls every single thing in your body. So in order for your heart to beat properly, your lungs to breathe, it has to come from the brain, and it has to have a free communication system.
Okay.
So like we talked about with Alana, what happens are these bones become misplaced. It can be traumatic, like a car accident or a fall. It could be a chemical overload for some of the things that we're breathing and eating. It could be a constant postural stress, so maybe you're in front of a keyboard for 8 hours a day. One way or another, these bones start to misalign, and they put stress on the communication system underneath them. We call that vertebral subluxation. So that signal can no longer go from the brain to wherever it needs to go. And Alana, what did we say yesterday? If that nerve's going to your heart and there's a vertebral subluxation and the communication's broken down?
That sometimes your heart or whatever organ the message is supposed to go to, it won't receive it properly, or it might not even receive the message at all.
Absolutely. So the thing that we really want to do is we want to free up this communication system so that the body can function optimally, and that includes your heart, lungs, everything.
Okay.
So here's a copy of the reports. So Lana, here's this copy. Here's that one for you, Bob. So we're going to start on the page 1. And this is talking about what you can see on an x-ray and what a subluxation looks like when it's been there for a long time. So if you don't mind, Bob, I don't know if you need to move your chair, but this is actually your x-ray.
Okay.
And there's a few things I want to point out to you. So this top portion here is going to be your neck.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to see in the neck is a really nice C-curve in the neck. These individual, the white things, are your bones in your neck individually.
Okay.
And we want those to be nice and square. So we don't want any projections, any sharp edges, stuff like that. Then in between the bones, you see how there's those spaces?
Yeah.
Those are the discs in your spine, just like you see in here between all these bones.
Oh.
And those discs are important because those are your shock absorbers, and it keeps these bones from doing anything on these nerves, right?
Okay.
So as we're looking at your spine, first thing you notice is that the curve is gone. Your neck is almost completely straight, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically stage 1 of degeneration, as you can see in that packet there for you.
Yeah.
So we can see that's happening. The next thing that we notice are those big fluffy discs that you're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
There's no longer those proper spaces. And you see how on a few of these they're really small compared to the other ones?
Mm-hmm.
So you no longer have that shock absorption in there. And then the third thing that we start noticing is in the front of these bones, you see how it kind of points out kind of at a sharp edge?
Yeah.
And it's not nice and square?
Yes.
So that's because your disc is wearing down, and since it doesn't have shock absorption, the bone is wearing unevenly, like an alignment on your car almost.
Oh, wow.
So if you look at the page, that front page, we're putting you in between a phase 2 going into a phase 3. So what that tells us is that your subluxation has been there for years.
Mm-hmm.
So this could have been all the way from back when you were born, like we talked about last time. But we know that this has been there for a long time, and it needs to get fixed.
Definitely.
Okay? So that's the first part of the report. The second part of the report is if you flip it, remember we did the rolling scan up your spine, and I said that it measures the temperature?
Yeah.
And Bob, what this is your nervous system is controls your paraspinal temperature, so the temperature down your back.
Okay.
So if it's working properly, it should be even all the way up your back.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can see, Alana, in your neck, in the upper neck, just like we saw breaking down up there,
Mm-hmm.
you have levels of black, and black is the most nerve interference possible. And then if you look down in your lower back, you also have a couple areas of black, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that there's maximum nerve interference in those areas.
Right.
And remember we talked about the nerves in your neck. They go to your ears, throat, and nose.
Yeah.
So you know you might have something going on in there.
Definitely.
You complained about headaches and lower back pain.
Yes.
And we can see that those are the areas that are really showing up with your nerve interference, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's go ahead and flip the page one more. Now this one, remember when you put your hand in there and it was measuring, I told you, your heart?
Yeah,
basically?
my heart rate.
Yeah, exactly. So your nervous system obviously is in control of your heart. So we did it's called a pulse wave profile, and it measures your heart rate variability.
Okay.
So what that means is, if you can see, you see that white dot kind of down here in the far corner. So you have a left and a right. So your left is your sympathetic nervous system. Your right is your parasympathetic. Think of it as a car. So you have a gas pedal and you have a brake. So what would happen to your car if the gas pedal, if you floored it for days and days and days and never gave it a brake?
I imagine it would wear on the car.
Yeah, your engine will probably blow up, right? Eventually. So what this dot is showing us is that you're on your gas pedal. Basically, there's no time for your body to rest, and you're never hitting that brake. It also shows us, since the dot is so far from this circle down here, this is basically the ideal. Since it's so far down, your body can't adapt, right? So you're stuck with this degeneration. You know that there's interference to your nerves causing issues, and now you're on the gas pedal nonstop. So do you think you're going to be able to heal from that if you're constantly on that gas pedal?
Probably not.
Probably not. Does that make sense, Bob? Any questions for me so far?
Not yet.
Okay, let me know if at any point you need clarification on anything.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and flip the page one more time. So this is called your core score, right? So we did your heart rate variability. We did the thermography, or the temperature of your spine.
Yeah.
And then remember, I also put the probes on you, and I said it measures how hard your muscles are working.
Yeah.
So what it does is it puts all three of these things in together, and it gives you a core score. This is basically how is your body functioning overall. So we had to rate it from 0 to 100. How well is your body functioning?
Okay.
And as you can see up here, you're at a 59 right now. So if you got a 59 on your test, let's say in school, you got an F basically, right? You're not doing so well. So the same thing with your health. We need this number to get higher. We need the function to come back. And that's what we need to start working on.
Okay.
Any questions with that?
No.
Okay. So basically, where are we going to go from here, right?
Okay.
So we want to continue to scan you periodically to make sure that we're making these improvements. But what we need to do is we need to fix those misalignments in your spine.
Okay.
So it can relieve the stress on your sister's nervous system, that communication system. When there's no stress on that communication system, then you can start hitting the brake, and your body can rest, and your body can heal. And you can see this degeneration on the x-ray start coming back. Those discs can come back. You can reverse this degeneration.
Oh, really?
And you can bring function back into your life. And that's when you're going to start noticing not only pain relief, but a lot of other things improve as well.
Wow. Okay.
So, lastly, let's go to the second last page. So I like to split up the care, almost like a sporting event. So let's say a football game. You both watch football? Okay. Somewhat?
I'm forced to.
Basketball?
Sure.
Okay. So we know there's 4 quarters, right?
Yes.
So that's how we're going to split up our care. So stage 1, we have that there's going to be 16 adjustments in 4 weeks.
Okay.
I'm open 4 days a week, so that means you're going to review every day that I'm open. And the reason why we do this is because you have all of this negative health momentum, right? And it's moving in a bad direction. And we have to be aggressive to stop that momentum and get it moving in the other direction.
Right.
So that's why we're going to go every day. We're going to get aggressive, and we're going to really start to gain a hold on everything.
Okay.
Then you move into stage 2. And also, between all these stages, we're going to do a re-exam, which we're going to scan you.
Right.
And we're going to show that core score is improving, right?
Sure.
Stage 2, it's 16 adjustments again, but it's over the course of 5 weeks. So we're going to back off just a little bit, right? Then in stage 3, it's also 16 adjustments, but we're going to go over 7 weeks. So what it looks like is it starts off 4 days a week, right? For 4 weeks for stage 1. Then it's going to be 5 weeks for stage 2, and we might see you 3 times a week, or it might be 2 times a week. This can all be changed depending on how your body is reacting to care.
Okay.
Okay. So this isn't set in stone. This is just general guidelines, and this just gives us a starting place. But of course, if you're doing better, we can hold off a little bit. If you're not seeing improvements, then we're going to get even more aggressive to make sure that we see the results that you want.
Awesome.
Okay. Last one, stage 4. So this is the 4th quarter of the game. We just call this protection plan. So you've gone through. We're starting to see some changes with your degeneration. The function's starting to come back in your body. You're feeling better. That pain's subsiding. So at this point, we don't need to be as aggressive, but we want to maintain, right?
Sure.
So your sister's putting all this money into her spine. She's making this investment. So we want to make sure that you don't waste that, right? We want to make sure that's well maintained.
Okay.
So this one, we're only checking it twice a month. So every other week, let's get you in. Let's make sure your posture is good. We can scan you if need be, right?
Okay.
And we want to make sure that you're on track. That you're only paying once a month, and it's $100. So let's flip to the next page. So adjustments are always $60.
Okay.
When you upgrade to the protection plan, it drops down to $50. So stage one,
okay.
yeah. So stage one, right? We talked about $60 adjustment. It's going to be $960. Stage two is $960. Stage three is $960. Each stage you can pay per stage, or you can pay it all up front, whichever one you prefer.
Okay.
Right? And then that last stage, like I talked about, I'm only seeing you twice a month, and they're only $50 a piece. So really, you're at a good place, your body's healing, so it's not so much cumbersome that you have to come in all the time and pay a lot of money. We just want to make sure that you're being maintained.
Okay.
So do you have any questions for me at this time?
Not right now. No, this all sounds wonderful.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
I do not.
Okay, let's go ahead and get going then.
Sweet. Dude, that's so long.
Yeah, I got to talking.